Well, Reverend Patricia Sunday here again. I just get going and I can't seem to stop and I just run over my time. So we're going to have to back up a little bit. In this, we're talking about Genesis 5, and we will begin when Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch found favor in the presence of God 365 years, like our 365 days in a year. And Enoch found favor in the presence of God and disappeared. God took him away, and that was the first rapture in the Bible. And I told you last time we're going to start paying attention to all of these things that are talking about everything after its own kind, and everything being a rapture or a disappearance, or these two lines, the lines of the wheat and tare growing together. So this is exciting. I hope you're as excited about it as I am in learning how all this came to be. Now, Methuselah, all his days were 969 days. I'm just going to skip along here through the lineage. And verse 30, and Lamech lived after he begot Noah. Okay, let's circle Noah and Lamech, because Noah came from the good line, obviously. And Lamech lived 777 years. 777. And he died. And Noah was 500 years old. And Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah was 500 years, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, I've never heard anybody say that, but there's no distinction here whether it says whether these were triplets. I'm going to write triplets in my Bible just because I want to. Because Noah begot Shem, Ham. It says they're all born together, didn't it? I'm telling you, this is the first set of triplets, because I don't see anywhere where it distinguishes like it did in the lines above. You see, Enoch begot this one begot this one begot this one begot this one. But when it gets to Noah, he was 500 years old, and he begot triplets. That's what the word tells me. Now, chapter 6 we're going into. We're going to see between chapter 5 and chapter 6, God began cutting down man's time, years to live. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them. Wait a minute. Only up here where it said Lamech, there weren't many daughters. If you'll notice going back through, there were sons and daughters after Seth. After Seth, there were sons and daughters. But before Seth there were not born daughters in that line. The women were taken from somewhere else on the earth. Okay. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them. So we're going back to the time that daughters began to be born into the Seth line. And I want to make sure I'm not saying something wrong here, but I don't see any daughters being born into Cain's line. I may be wrong. I don't see any daughters being born into Cain's line. Cain's line took their wives from what was already on earth that survived the overturning of the earth at that time. So, Now we are down to verse 3. Oh, wait, verse 2. Now, the sons of God, who are the sons of God? Saw that the daughters of men were fair. What men? The daughters of men from God's line. So now the sons of God, the angels, the fallen angels, are coming back in, and they're going, oh, look at all these women that are born in Seth's line. Aren't these beautiful women? Not like all these women that are out here on the earth that we've been seeing. We've known them for years, but let's go know these women. Then the Lord said, my spirit shall not dwell in man forever, because he is flesh. Let his days be 120. So when God saw that the sons of God, the fallen angels, were coming back in to take the good women that were being produced, the new daughters that were being produced on the earth, he cut down man's years. And you'll see that he says in verse 3, let his days be 120. Then God said, man can't live more than 120 years. I'm not going to permit each of these lines to go on forever. And as you noticed, in our day, it's cut down even further because we're coming to the end. And he's not going to allow people to keep having evil children. Now, there were giants on the earth in those days. I want you to circle giants because I'm sorry I'm not looking at you so much as I'm reading the word, but I do know you're there. There were giants on the earth in those days. So, who were these giants? These giants were the sons of God. Because sons of God were humongous angels who could change form into a smaller, compact creature. Else, how did they mate with the women? You know what I mean? Because they were spirit. They were spiritual. But the giants themselves were an offspring from the earlier mating. So now we have giants on the earth that are the offspring from the mating of the angels and the human women produced giants. For the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men. So, in order to produce giants, the sons of God had to take on a different form. Does that make sense? And they became the giants, and they bore children to them, and the children they bore had a different DNA in them that produced humongous men, humongous humans. So they became giants who in the olden days were mighty men of renown. And the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was so great in the earth that every imagination and thoughts of the heart was evil continuously. Does that sound like now? It does to me. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy men whom I have created from the face of the earth, both men and animals and the creeping things and the fowls of the air. I'm sorry, I made them. But Noah found mercy in the eyes of the Lord. You should draw a circle around, but Noah found mercy in the eyes of the Lord. Now, so what we see between Genesis 1 and 2 was the old earth being done away with. It was flipped. It was something happened, and the earth, and God had to remake the earth. And then between Adam and Eve and Noah, he's going to have to remake the earth again. So what we're beginning to see is that the earth is forever. But he has to turn it over. He has to till his ground. He has to recreate the earth ever so often, because of the evil that has been continually coming upon it. Now, so now we're up to Noah and the earth being remade again. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and innocent in his days. And God was pleased with Noah. And Noah begot 3 sons, and we talked about that, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And yet, I've been looking really hard to see whether each birth was said that he knew his wife, and he knew his wife, but it doesn't say it. It just said Noah begot sons and daughters, but he was 500 years old when he begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So Shem, Ham, and Japheth were triplets. And he also had other daughters, but the daughters are not named. But the giants, the sons of God, the fallen angels, knew who they were and went after them. So now we're looking at this. There's so many giants on the earth because sons of God were mating with the women on earth. Just, you know what, that's going on now. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's going on now. And verse 9, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man. Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt in the presence of God, and the earth was filled with wickedness. God's still on the earth. He's still walking with man. And God saw that the earth was corrupted, and for all flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth. All flesh. So all flesh means animals. The animals were being corrupted. That's why Noah had to take on the ark some good animals, the ones that had not been corrupted, a male and female, ones that had not been corrupted, because the giants, the sons of God, were in bestiality. And there were all kinds of evil mixtures of creatures on the earth. And do you know they're doing that now? They're mixing, in DNA mixing, they're creating creatures of humans and animals and all kinds of things. It's going on. We just are not aware of it openly. And he said, I will destroy. Now this time he says in verse 13, the end of all flesh has come upon to me, before me, for the earth is full of wickedness through men. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Circle with the earth. He's not going to send a hailstorm, but he's going to do something with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and daub it without and within with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, and the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. And you shall make a window in the ark, and to the width of a cubit shall you finish it above, and the door of the ark you shall make in its side, the lower, second, and third decks you shall make. And he made a 3-story ark. So I want you to stop right there. Just so you will remember it later, write 3 stories on the ark. This was a huge, huge 3-story boat. And behold, I will bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh that has the breath of life in it from under heaven, and everything that is on the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall enter into the ark, you, your sons, your wives, and your sons' wives with you. All right. Did it say Noah? I gotta go back and check this, so I'm not saying wrong. Noah had sons and daughters. Noah, back in chapter 5, said Noah, verse 30, Noah was 595 years old and begot sons and daughters. I want you to go back and circle sons and daughters and draw a line to this chapter here where it said when he went in the ark, I want you to take your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Did it say the daughters went on the ark? No. No. Do you know Noah had to leave his daughters behind? His daughters were lost because they were women. And they were women that had been taken by the sons of God. So they were no longer able to go aboard the ark. But Noah's sons had married wives that were clean, that were pure, that had not had sexual relations with the sons of God. They had only had relations with their husbands who were from the good line. So all Noah could take on the ark was his sons and his wife and his sons' wives. He had to leave his daughters behind. Do you know how much that hurts? Do you know that when we go, we may have to leave some of our daughters behind? That's a very hurtful thing. If they have not married right, which is why God cautions us to be equally yoked to our husband, to marry the right man, to conceive the right children, to keep the good on the earth, because only the good's going. Those that you've conceived with those that are not of God are not going. And even those you conceived of with God, they may not be going because the father of them may have been evil. But the sons not. So now we're seeing not everybody goes. Now remember, when I'm teaching, and I'm teaching through the Bible, I'm teaching from Genesis to Revelation, we're marking those raptures that happen and those salvations from the ark. So now I want you to put down at the bottom I want you to write under chapter 6, Noahic covenant. I want you to write rainbow under it. And I want you to write ark. And I want you to write I want you to write salvation by the ark. That's what the Lord's telling me to say right now. Write salvation by the ark. So we've got Noahic covenant, rainbow, and ark, salvation. Now, verse 19. And of every living thing of all flesh, everything that has flesh on it, 2 of every kind bring into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. So he's saying, bring a male and female of everything to keep them alive with you. And he's telling him, in other words, you get a picture that only the good is going on this ark. Nothing that has been corrupted is going on this ark. Nothing evil is going on this ark. Even the daughters of Noah couldn't go on this ark. Now, of fowls after every kind, and every animal after every kind, every creeping thing, 2 by 2, and we're going through that. And verse 21, and you must take a supply of all food that is eaten. Now, there's coming a time here before we go, I really believe that we're going to have to keep a supply of food. Now, we're going to go through some bad times, people, some evil times, some bad times, and we do need to take a supply of food of all that is eaten. So I want you to circle verse 21 because God's telling us here we need to store some food. Because you see there's going to be 7 years that we're going to have to go through. Remember way over there when Joseph had to store up food in the times of good times for the times of the bad times, the famine? And his brothers had to come to him to get food. That's what's going to happen here. So we do need to store a supply of food. And on the ark was sitting 7 days before it took off. So those 7 days, it was prepared, it was ready, but it didn't take off for 7 days, which is, a day as is a year in the Bible a lot of times, because a day is as of 1,000 years of the Lord. So he's given us a 1-to-7 ratio of a lot of things. Keep that in mind, a 1-to-7 ratio of a lot of things. So if the ark sat for 7 days before it took off, we're going to be here 7 years before we take off. Now, I've already taught you back here, the Lord said he's going to protect us from the wrath, but he said we're going to have tribulation. We're going to go through a hell of a tribulation, folks. It ain't over yet. And you can listen to all the preachers you want, say, don't listen to those gloom and doom preachers. Don't listen to those gloom and doom preachers. Listen to us. We have a good word. We have a good word. Well, the Lord is going to preserve us through these 7 years, but you're going to need to store some food for hurricanes, for earthquakes, for war in the streets. People, you need to get your swords ready and your food ready. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded, so did he. He said, and it shall be for food for you and for them. Prepare your food. Prepare your ark now. Prepare your children. Get them ready. For the Lord is coming. But we have a few years left yet to go through. And I think we're already into that time. And some of us just haven't prepared enough yet. But I hope this study has shown you that we need to. God bless you. God bless your children. Save your children. Let's have a word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, in the name of Yeshua, we come to you. And we ask your forgiveness of our sins. We put before you our children, our sons and our daughters, our grandchildren. We put before you all the people that we love and even those that we do not know, Lord, their children. For this is an evil and a wicked generation. This is the same kind of generation, Lord, that you turned the earth over for the first time. And you set the flood in Noah's day the second time. And you're about to come again, flip the earth again. And it's going to be a horrible time. And we don't want to be here, Lord. Please save us, Father. Save us and our children. Prepare our ark. Store our food. Part of the food we're to store, people, is this. Eat it. Eat the word of God. This is food to you. Food to you and your children. Shalom.